Go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the, our annual Georgia Cotton Commission meeting. I'm Bart Davis, Chairman. I'd like to start off with, I'd like to recognize all the board members that stand up. Matt Coley, Dooley County. Lee Crumley, Bullock. Chris Hopkins, Toombs. John Rudolph Morgan. Chad Mathis Baker. Stephen Lee Wayne. And Board Advisor Dave Hall from Winston County. At this time, I'm going to ask Chris Hopkins to come up and give us a presentation.
Thank you, Bart. You will bow your head with prayer. Dear Lord, we come to you as humble as we know how, Lord, thanking you for blessing us with safe traveling opportunities, Lord. I pray especially that you'll put a hedge of protection around each one represented here today as they travel back, a hedge of protection around their family, wherever they may be as they go throughout their day. Lord, thank you for this profession of agriculture, what it means to each one of us, what it means to our farms, what it means to our state, what it means from a national security issue, Lord. Every day we thank you for the opportunity we have to get up and work the land with the resources you provide. Lord, I pray that as we go about the business of the Georgia Cotton Commission and represent this industry, that all the decisions we make will be for the betterment of each family farm that we represent. And we ask for your guidance and will as we do so. So in your name we pray. Amen.
Again, we thank y'all for coming out today and participating in our programs and our breakout sessions and seeing how your checkoff dollars are working for you. And getting to that, we have our checkoff. We had to have a referendum every 3 years, and it's going to be from February 14th to March 15th. So look for your ballots in the mail. If you don't get them, call the commission or Department of Ag and remind your neighbors and other producers to vote so we can keep our commission going, so we can keep doing the research and the education promotion we do for y'all. Without the research and corporate spending, we wouldn't be where we at today in cotton production in Georgia. We've got some really good speakers today. They're going to be very educational, I feel like. Interactive.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, at this time, Taylor Sills, the executive director, will come up and introduce them.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to do our little brief commission report. Thank you all for allowing us to put this program on again for you every year. I would like to recognize our commission staff. We have Caroline Snyder Gentry now, who is our education and outreach specialist, and then Kelly Rogers, who's our operations coordinator. Kelly's been with us right at a year, and Caroline's been a year and a half, so we've had a lot of transition at the commission, but it's the good kind. I know many of you may remember Richie and Martha. They both left us, and we've had it's the good kind of transition. When folks stay and combine 45 years, that's the good kind. So a lot of you recognize our sponsors. I know most of them are outside. A lot of people are visiting with them right now. If you get a chance, go to them and thank you for their sponsorship, because we couldn't do this meeting without the support of our sponsors. And as we do with a lot of our presentations, we do a brief breakdown of how we our budget. As you can see, that portion that goes towards research has really grown over the last 3 years to 44% on the dollar. Then the National Cotton Council of Southern Cotton Growers. I know, we're going to hear from Ken Fountain later. Dave Rupedecker, who's the CEO of Southern, and Joe Martin is president, who's joined us from Northeastern North Carolina, are with us today. Appreciate what all these organizations do for us. A brief promotion and education update. I'm going to steal a line I saw from the Cotton Board on Facebook last night that said, a lot of what we do is be a hub for information. And so that's some of the stuff we're going to hear in later presentations, so I'll kind of skip over it, but that's what I like to think we are. But the promotion and education stuff is stuff that we do on our own. We continue to sponsor Georgia High School athletics, UGA football, Georgia Southern athletics. We've really enhanced our stock donation program to homeless shelters across the state over the last couple of years. we buy what they call a pallet load of socks. You can buy them for yourself at buysocksforless.com if you're interested. But we are socksinbulk.com. But we're doing that program. It's been very successful for us, in my opinion. We continue to do the school and farm days across the state. And if you're part of a county farm bureau that wants to put one on, or if you're your chamber of commerce, or you have a spouse that works in the school system that wants to do one, please let us know. But we find that a lot of those are in the areas where we're already reaching people. And so we have partnered with Georgia Public Broadcasting. Caroline is kind of heading that program up. It's called Live Exploration, and she participated in one on water resources a little over a year ago, and they had 60,000 kids on there. And I got a feeling most of those children are not from the Cotton Belt of Georgia, so we're hopeful that we'll reach a new audience. And as important as the kids are, we can reach those teachers too. So that's going to be this spring. This year we had our Cotton Connections video series. We took 4 growers across the state and went back to them several times to highlight what they were doing in their farm and their community. And we're lucky to have one of the participants, Lee Nine from Morgan County, that's sitting in the back, who we're very grateful to those farmers that let us come on their places all these times this year. With that, we continue to do more and more on social media. And then we've had it for about 3 or 4 years now, our 100% Cotton News e-newsletter. We got some sign-up forms for that by the registration desk. We did find this year we had an open records request to get the email addresses, and we legally cannot give out producers' email addresses. So we're not going to be able to give those away, even if we wanted to, so please sign up. We try not to beat you over the head with emails, probably send you 6 or 7 emails a year. One thing I'd like to mention, last year, or several years ago, we had a series of ads, and we pointed them out at each of the meetings since then. But the reason we're showing them to you here is because we hope that you all aren't in our target audience. We hope that you've all already heard the good news of cotton, and that that you're not the ones we're paying money to see them on Facebook and Instagram and on TV. But we did want to show you this one today.
All right, what do you think, Jasper?
Honestly, I think that polyester shirt's affecting your game.
What?
I think cotton would have been a better choice.
Cotton?
Yeah, it's come a long way, you know. Nowadays, cotton breathes and leaks moisture great. Plus, buying cotton means supporting Georgia farmers. I think that's wonderful.
Okay, sure, but what do you think about the putt?
Oh, guess really hadn't thought about it.
We got those on our YouTube page if you want to see them. This Kim Kitchings is here. She's going to bring you lots of news later, but she was very instrumental in helping us get those put together and making sure that we didn't say anything too crazy. Like I mentioned before, research continues to be the biggest part of that dollar you give us. We have to do everything 2 crop years at a time because of budget years versus calendar years and crop years. But between these 2 crops, you got about $1.5 billion your money sitting there to support our cotton team. And Cotton Incorporated is kicking in a significant amount of money in their core funds as well, to the tune of about another $600,000 a year. And that number especially has grown significantly in the last 2 to 3 years. And I think part of the reason that is because we got a world-class group of scientists here at the University of Georgia doing work on cotton. That's part of the reason we're having to give them so much money is because they're doing such a good job for you guys. So if you've got questions, feel free to. I think even the research specialists are here today that you may not see at extension meetings and stuff. Take a minute to figure out what they're doing on your behalf. Here's a brief list of those projects, and like I said before, a lot of what we're trying to do is leverage, support, use these as seed funds to get bigger grants and then maximize the impact back on your farm. I'm going to mention the U.S. Cotton Trust Protocol very briefly, because I know Kent's going to mention during his remarks. Outside in what they call the boardroom, which is right across the hall, you've got Ken and Tillman from the U.S. Cotton Trust Protocol here to answer questions and help people get signed up. I would encourage you all to at least go ask them about it, because it's a very important program for our industry. So if you get a chance, please go over there. They're going to be here all day to help growers get set up. I know, again, Dr. Culpepper was going to mention this afternoon if he makes it back from Texas in time, but about 10 days ago, the EPA released a new label on Enlist 1 and Enlist Duo and banned the use of Enlist Duo in 11 Georgia counties and on average 1.1 million acres of cotton across the country. think this is a very serious issue from a precedent standpoint. So I'll leave the expert comments on that to Dr. Culpover this afternoon. I would point out that the whole conversation of the waters of the United States, as it relates to the Clean Water Act, is back. And your neighbors to the west, Plains Cotton Growers, they joined the American Soybean Association to sue the EPA on how they handled the vacation of the original dicamba label. And then a group called the National Family Farm Coalition. I won't get into who they are and what they do. If you want to stay up at night and worry, just go to their website. I don't think many of our producers have much in common with them. A brief Washington update from my perspective. Many of you remember that in 2018 and 2019, USDA had what they call a quality loss program. To be frank, it didn't really work for us. I don't think it worked well for the county offices. So they announced another one for 2020. Thanks to the help of the Cotton Council, there's going to be a one for 2020. We obviously had quality issues in 2020, and we won't get into those. But because of the problems with the original program, there's going to be a new program with new rules that hasn't been announced yet. So we at least hope it'll be better than the last one. Many of you are going to look at stacks and SCO and ECO this year in a way that you haven't in the past because of the input problems or input price issues. That deadline's coming up on the 28th, and then your RPLC, should you decide to go that way, is the 15th. There are some farm bill discussions going on. I will point out that the Council of American Cotton Producers has a farm bill task force. Matt Coley from Georgia sits on that. So we've got good influence there. But I think the main thing as we move into the farm bill discussion is going to be these 2022 elections. Cotton Incorporated has updated their cotton cultivated platform. So those of you producers that are in the audience, you have access to basically all of their ag research resources. For those of you that are interested in it, if you want to do a deep dive on a particular subject matter, you can do that there. It's pretty user friendly for folks. As Bart mentioned, we have our referendum coming up February 14th through 16th. And again, if you do not get a ballot, let us know, let the Department of Ag know. We want to make sure everybody that needs a ballot gets a ballot. I've been kind of brief this morning. All the sessions from today's meeting are going to be videoed and on YouTube. For those of you that may want to go back over something, just one of the breakout sessions. I've had a lot on my mind as we've started this meeting, and our industry has hard times, just like it has every year. There's always a new tough issue. I read a book in college where the fellow listed as the hero of the book. They asked the author later who was the hero of the book, and it was a hog farmer. And of all the characters addressed in the book, it's very interesting to the reader that they pick a hog farmer, so they asked him why. And he said every day, in rain and sunshine and sickness and health, that hog farmer got up and he walked his hogs through the middle of town. Everybody else had issues and they'd stop doing what they were doing to handle their issues, but that hog farmer walked those hogs through town. And you might not ever get thanked for it. You might not ever get recognized for it, but you farmers in this room are the heroes of our community because of what you do every day with no thanks or anything else. So I know times are hard, but just think that here's somebody's grateful for you, I promise you. So we're a little ahead of schedule, which is a good problem to have. But I'll ask Matt Coley to come up and introduce our next speaker.
Appreciate it, Taylor, and thank you all for coming today. I have the opportunity to introduce our first speaker, Kent Fountain. Kent's the chairman of the National Cotton Council this year. He's also a generating producer from over in southeast Georgia. So it's good for the state to have people like Kent in these leadership positions. He's doing a great job for the cotton industry. In the last 2 years, he's been able to serve as chair. We're certainly thankful for his service. Kent was re-elected chairman of the Cotton Council for 2021 during the Cotton Council annual meeting in February of 2021. Kent served as the NCC's vice chairman in 2019 and as chairman in 2020. He's the president and CEO of Southeastern Gin and Peanut in Searcy, Georgia. He also serves as the president and CEO of Altamaha Oil Company in Baxter, Georgia. Kent, who grew up in Jessup, Georgia, attended the University of Georgia where he received a degree in ag economics. In 1995, he began with Southeastern Gin Incorporated. In 2004, he built a peanut buying point, and the firm became Southeastern Gin and Peanut Incorporated. In 2009, the company acquired Altamaha Oil Company. In 2015, Altamaha Oil Company was sold. In 2015, Kent was instrumental in starting Premium Peanut in Douglas, Georgia, where he currently serves as chairman. Fountain was the NCC vice president from 2016 to 2018. He served on the National Cotton Council's board in 2011 and was a dinner delegate from 2001 through 2006 and from 2008 through 2016. He has served on numerous Cotton Council committees and has been the chairman of its Quality Task Force since 2016. In 2010 through 2020, he has served as the director of Cotton Council International. CCI is the Cotton Council's export promotion arm. He was a member of the Cotton Council's 2001 through 2002 Cotton Leadership Class. He has also been past president of the Southeastern Cotton Ginners Association, and he currently serves as the director for Stable Cotton and the Cotton Growers Warehouse Association. He was the president of the National Cotton Ginners Association in 2011. He serves as the chairman of the Georgia Seed Development Commission and as vice chairman of the Georgia Horse Authority. Previously, he also served as secretary treasurer of the Wayne County Industrial Development Board. Kent's been the recipient of numerous honors, including in 2016, he was named the Southeastern Gender of the Year. Kent and his wife Missy live in Stratton, Georgia, and he has two sons. JP attends the Charleston School of Law, and Sam attends the University of Georgia. They also attend Calvary Baptist Church in Jessup. As you can tell from this biography, Kent's been involved in this industry for a long time and has continued to grow in his service, and he's always there no matter what he's asked to do, and we're certainly very fortunate to have people like Kent in this industry. And with that, if you want to come on up and bring us some words from the Cotton Council.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you for those kind words. Some of us wasn't maybe. But, can I lower this? Can I shut this laptop, or is it going to mess up something?
It'll mess it up. If you close it, it'll shut off the screen.
Okay, I'll try to do it without it. But again, thank you for allowing me to come and tell you about the council. It's we've got a lot going on, as you'll understand in a minute as I go through this. As Jimmy said, we might tell you too much, but maybe you can hang on. But it's all what's going on in our industry. But thank you, Matt. Thank you, Bart, and thank you, Taylor, for allowing us to come and speak and give you a report of the National Cotton Council. Last year was a challenging year for the industry on so many fronts, from weather-related production concerns, issue related to COVID, legislative challenges, pressures on product registration, and a number of regulations under review by the Biden administration. It was also a year of opportunity and progress, though. As you know, Congress passed a continuing resolution that included $10 billion in agricultural disaster assistance and extended the Wildlife Hurricane Indemnity Program Plus to cover 8 eligible crops losses, and crop preventive planting in 2020 and 2021 crop years. Language was included that directs USDA to calculate the eligible WIP plus payment by deducting the net crop insurance indemnity instead of the gross indemnities, thus giving producers credit for crop insurance premium payments. Council was pleased when USDA began making some of the $185 million in disaster assistance payments to producers who suffered losses in 2019 due to natural disasters and who already have received WIP plus benefits through the 2 previous rounds of reduced program payments. However, there has been a delay in the payments for the 2020 and 2021 crops. The council also was pleased with Agriculture Secretary Vilsack's announcement of a comprehensive set of investments to address drought, market disruptions, and other challenges facing America's agricultural producers. House Agriculture Committee Chairman David Scott, requested USDA to allocate U.S. cotton merchandisers a portion of the $500 million set aside to address the market supply-demand chain disruptions in agriculture. He pointed out that merchandisers play an important role in providing liquidity and risk management for the nation's cotton producers. The Secretary previously announced this funding availability from the Commodity Credit Corporation, but there have been no details on how and when the funding will be allocated. I want to add here that the Agriculture Committee Chairman Scott of Georgia continues to consistently and diligently advocate for the USDA on behalf of the U.S. cotton industry for critical needed assistance. The council and its members look forward to continuing to work with him and other congressional members and Secretary Vilsack to meet the ongoing need and other challenges facing the U.S. cotton industry. Working in conjunction with the American Cotton Producers Climate Policy Working Group, the council urged the USDA to collaborate with organizations like Field to Market and private sustainability programs such as the Trust Protocol to streamline data collection that verify on-farm sustainability practices. USDA was also urged to use funds allocated to increase payments on climate-smart practices and remove barriers that inhibit participation in NRCS conservation programs. Regarding the Trust Protocol, I'm pleased to report that the inaugural annual report was released late last year. More than 525 mills and manufacturers and 37 global brands and retailers have become members. Also, some 950,000 cotton bales, about 6% of all U.S. cotton grown in 2020 was enrolled in the program. Trust Protocol participants are being recognized collectively and individually for their sustainability efforts in specific ways. For example, Barry Evans, a fourth-generation Texas producer, was one of the recipients of the 2021 Sustainability Leadership Award presented by Field to Market with the Alliance for Sustainable Agriculture. Strong Trust Protocol growth continued for the goal of bringing on board 3 million bales of cotton from 2021 harvest and enrolling 50% of the U.S. grown cotton by 2025 in the Trust Protocol, which is a very lofty goal, and we need your help in that. The effort will continue at enrolling 100 global brands and retailers, as well as 1,000 mills and manufacturers. Other positive developments include the launch of the Protocol Consumption Management Solution, which, with the combined power of Protocol Platform and Textile Genesis, is enabling the Trust Protocol to offer unrivaled transparency and visibility in cotton throughout the supply chain. And I want to add that this is not a beat down for the farmer, just something else for the farmer to do. I'm preaching to the choir because you're here to get educated, but we need your help in sustainability. We've got to do this. This is being pushed by the end user. And I'll tell you, I had an opportunity to spend a little time with Dan Cathy last year, and we got to talk about change. And he said, if external change be your business or industry, if your internal change doesn't keep up with your external change, you're doomed to fail. External change is that our consumer wants this sustainability. Internally, we've got to provide that to them, and we've got to do it. And it's real, and if you can take 2.5 hours a year to do this, it's going to help us sustain our cotton industry and our ability to sell this cotton. I'll give you one more story that also in peanuts, as they said. So I'm meeting with a large family-owned peanut company that makes confection peanuts, and we're trying to start this in the peanut industry. And I said, well, at what point do the growers, how many growers do you need for it to be able to put on your candy bar that it's grown sustainable peanuts? This is the owner of the company. He looked at me and he said, I'm not going to put it on my peanut candy bar. I've made a commitment by 2025 or 2030, I will only buy sustainable products. So that's where we're going, guys, and so that's already happening in cotton, and so we need to continue. We need your help to help share with your neighbors to get on board with sustainability. The council's remained active on a range of tax issues. As a member of the Tax Aggie Coalition, the Family Business Estate Tax Coalition, and Main Street Employers, the council's urged Congress to make no negative changes to the tax code as it began the budget reconciliation process. Late last year, the council reached out to 2 congressional committees urging the rejection of other proposals that have been floating around. Those include the mark-to-market plan, a halving of the estate tax exemption, limits to grantor trust, and changes to valuation discounts that were not included or removed from the Build Back Better framework. More recently, we joined other agriculture and business organizations communicating to the Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ronald Wiley, expressing opposition to proposed Internal Revenue Code partnership rules and their inclusion in the Build Back Better Act. The Council has also been very proactive in working with administration and Congress in resolving supply chain dysfunction that has been seriously undermining U.S. exports. Consider the fact that the cost to ship a container has increased between 300 to 500% in the past 2 years, and the informal survey suggests that U.S. agricultural exports' inability to perform is leading to a loss of 22% of their sales. Agricultural Transportation Coalition, which the Council is a member of, met with Vice President Kamala Harris and other government officials to discuss solutions to the congestion of Los Angeles and Long Beach ports. All sides agreed to continue to work together to report envoy John Corcosi. The Council later joined with members of the Agricultural Transportation Working Group in filing comments, including supply chain policy recommendations about the agricultural supply chain disruptions to multiple hearings held by several House committees that sought input on alleviating those challenges. The comments noted that, among other things, the supply chain focused provisions including a recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill created a pilot program enabling 18 to 20-year-old commercial driver license holders with the right safety, training, and technology to drive interstate commerce and join the trucking workforce. The department now has 60 days to create the program. More recently, the members of the Agriculture CEO Council, of which the National Cotton Council is a member, provided President Biden with recommendations on immediate policy actions that could be taken to provide relief from the ongoing supply chain challenges facing agriculture. The group hopes to meet with leaders of the White House Supply Chain Task Force to provide additional background needed to implement these recommendations. And I'm sure that everyone here is aware of the supply chain and the labor issues that have affected the timely delivery of the season's cotton classing data. I want to express my sincere appreciation to Darrell Ernest and his staff for their ongoing efforts to minimize delays and for their willingness to provide weekly updates from each classing office. The industry is extremely fortunate to have dedicated individuals who work in the classing office. Also, AMS previous investments in automation are helping to mitigate the delays. The Council requests continued patience for USDA and on the classing the remainder of the 2021 crop. And I want to add that this is Darrell Ernest, Nova here in Georgia. They do a heck of a job. And they have to get 2,500 seasonal employees throughout the cotton belt. Now just think about that. You know, guys, I got 60 or 70 in it, but I can use 8 to 8. They can't. So I ask for your patience. 72-hour turnaround. If things don't change in our labor force, that may be gone. I mean, it is not anyone's fault. It's just that if they get labor, it's going to be tough. So please give your patience, and we appreciate Noah's here. I think Noah's here and proud, and Noah, we appreciate y'all and appreciate what you do for our industry. One positive development going forward that could help address the supply chain problems. Multiple U.S. cotton industry members were named to the new Federal Maritime Commission National Shipper Advisory Committee. Representatives from Alexander International Logistics, Cargo Incorporated, and Louis Dreyfus will serve on that panel formed to advise the Commission on policies related to the competitiveness, reliability, integrity, and fairness of the international ocean freight delivery system. I do want to note one positive action regarding labor shortages. The Council joined with other agricultural organizations and expressed a concern to the Secretary of State and Homeland Security about the administration's COVID-related proclamation limiting the travel of non-citizens from several countries, including South Africa, to the United States. We emphasize that the access to these essential members of the agricultural workforce are needed and request that H-2A workers coming to the United States be given a national interest exemption. At the end of the year, the White House responded by lifting the travel restrictions on South African countries and that they agreed to have the travel ban. As always, the regulatory arena has posed multiple challenges. Working through the Water Advocacy Coalition, the Council continues to press for clear and concise water regulations that do not infringe on private property rights or landowners' abilities to farm their land. Specifically, the Council of American Cotton Producers filed several comments to the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers regarding their move to rewrite the 2020 Navigable Waters Protection Rule. We publicly noted support for the 2020 Navigable Waters Protection Rule, saying that reverting to a 1980s era Waters of the U.S. rule would be a mistake. Later, the EPA and the Corps agreed to the Council's request for comment extensions and roundtable discussion on the agency's rule rewriting. The Council took advantage of the extensions and will be submitting comments before February the 7th deadline. Also, the Council's Vice Chairman, Ted Snyder, recently participated in a Small Business Administration Roundtable discussion conducted by the EPA and the Corps. He emphasized that losing the 2020 Trump era water rule would be a large step backwards, and that changing rules every few years would do more environmental harm than good in the long run. In actions regarding biotechnology, the Council provided comments on the EPA's draft Endangered Species Act for the registration review of 3 important neonic insecticides. The comments noted that these products provide protection from sucking bug pests on cotton and are needed for resistant management, as restricting this mode of action would increase the buildup of resistance of other modes. On another biotech issue, the Council joined with more than 100 agriculture and agribusiness organizations in expressing concerns to President Biden regarding the Mexican government's policy on agriculture biotech and the country's failure to follow a timely science-based approval process for agriculture biotech trades. That effort was reinforced with some 20 members of the Cotton Belt House members recently joined more than 50 other members on a letter to President Biden describing the ongoing disruptions to U.S. agricultural supply chain to Mexico due to this policy. They noted that the policy was brought by biotechnical projects approvals in Mexico to a standstill and has prevented the U.S. producers from utilizing innovative new technologies by making crops with biotech traits not eligible for export to Mexico. The Council has been very active in preserving the availability of key plant protection products, separately becoming a greater challenge as the environmental justice has become a new priority for the EPA's Office of Pesticide Program. After EPA recently released 3,000 dicamba off-target complaints in 2021, the Council joined with the American Soybean Association and the American Farm Bureau in urging EPA to use caution until the list of complaints could be verified. We urge careful analysis of these complaints because dicamba is too important for a decision to be made on incomplete or faulty data. While EPA recently has stated for amendment dicamba label in a time frame that would not interfere with the 2022 growing season, we're very concerned that the complaints released is meant to encourage legal action through the courts as a way to render the producer the product unusable. And Taylor's talked about this and some lawsuits that are going on. I want you to know the Council was heavily involved in the financing arm of those lawsuits. Just put it that way. We just approved some more money, so it's a huge issue. I'm also pleased to share that despite the resurgence of COVID, the Council coordinated the in-person 2022 Beltwide Cotton Conference held earlier this month and was very successful in expediting technology transfer. Nearly 700 registered for the San Antonio event, which featured an Hispanic Consultants Conference as well as 12 cotton technical conferences, including the second annual Cotton Sustainability Conference. Finally, I feel remiss if I didn't remind you to be diligent in your efforts to reduce cotton contamination at the farm in general. It's going to take all of us doing all we can to reduce contaminants in raw cotton and preserve our industry's reputation. And in closing, I'd like to again thank the Cotton Commission, as Taylor put up there, the Southeast are commission states, which means you all are all members of the National Cotton Council, are all members of Southern Cotton Growers, and we appreciate that, and it gives us a strong council that we can go forward and work for you all. One other thing I would like to say, we had a little dinner last night, and I said this, get involved. These organizations are for you, and without people and without younger people, they can't continue. So we need you. We need you to be involved in council. We need you to be involved in Southern Cotton Growers. Jen needs to be involved in Southeastern General. So I encourage you to tell your neighbors, and if you have any questions, you've got Taylor, you've got Dave, Jimmy's fixing to come up and speak to you from the Cotton Board. But I appreciate it and continue to stay involved. we thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Fountain. To start our next presentation, we have Chad Mathis come introduce our next speaker this morning.
Morning. Thank you, Ken, for that presentation from the council. It's always good to hear what you have to say. Thank y'all for being here today, taking out the time to join us. I know it's a messy day. Next speaker I want to introduce is a good friend of mine, Jimmy Webb. He's from the Cotton Board. Jimmy's been an owner-operator at Harvey Jordan Farms in Larry, Georgia since 1986, where he grows cotton, corn, and peanuts, and is currently serving as the industry's chairman of the Cotton Board. That organization is charged with administering the cotton research and promotion program. Jimmy is also a current director of Southern Cotton Growers and also Staple Cotton. He's also a former director of the Georgia Cotton Commission. He serves as a cooperative delegate to the National Cotton Council. And he's also been a former president of the Cotton Council International. Jimmy's a partner in Edison Gin Co-op, where we all gin our cotton back home in County County. He graduated from University of Georgia with an agricultural degree. He's been in several different leadership classes throughout his years. And he also won Georgia Farmer of the Year in 2006. And also Young Peanut Farmer of the Year in 2008. So at this time, I'd like to welcome my little short buddy up to the stage. Jimmy, thank you.
Wow, morning. Let's try again. Good morning. You know, it's a tall order following Chad. My good friend Chad. You know, can't talk to y'all about National Cotton Council. We all know what the National Cotton Council does. We see it directly. Anytime there's a crop insurance issue, prices are not in good shape, we count on council to help us out. We can physically see that. We can physically touch that. We can see deposits in our bank account that help us survive tough times. The Cotton Board is a different situation. Cotton Incorporated. I want to make sure everybody understands that. We can all relate to this, I'm sure. I look at it like, you know, Cotton Board's checkoff program. So I look at it like the Cotton Board is the bank. The bank has the funds. And we've hired Cotton Incorporated as our contractor to do research and promotion for us. That's the two things we want to talk about today. Is the cotton promotion and research program a good return on our investment? Now, there are a lot of programs run through Cotton Incorporated. And Kim's going to talk to you later about her programs, what she coordinates. And Kim is dynamic and outstanding what she does for us, cotton growers and importers. You know, we influence cotton in fashion, technology, ag research, sustainability, and consumer advertising, just to name a few. You know, we know what CI does, but is it a good investment for us? Some of the things they do that directly affect me and you as growers is seed varieties. They do research in every state, all across the belt, and help you and I determine what's the best variety for our area, what's going to give us the maximum yields, which is all what we look for. We've got to have maximum yields for maximum dollars for us. With that, every 5 years, we do an in-depth economic analysis. We need to determine, are those dollars worth what we're using them for? Are we getting anything back? I'm happy to say we are. And every 5 years we do this, just make sure it's paid for our importers and producers. We need to evaluate CI's performance, trust our data, and our evaluation that it's working. The full economic report is on our website, is cottonboard.org. I encourage you to go look at it. It's that time of year when it's wet, rainy, cold. If you're an economic person like I am, like numbers, it's something really good to look at. Today we're just going to hit the highlights, and hopefully you'll go to the website and look at the full report. What are the major impacts that we've discovered with that 5-year economic analysis? And this is something you really can't put your hands on, so it's kind of hard to see. So we have to do this to determine whether we're getting our money's worth. You know, we definitely see has increased demand for cotton fiber, cotton products. It's increased U.S. and world prices of open cotton that we all grow. Prices go up, it increases our revenue. All the ag research test plots increase our yields and help expand our acreage. It's generated positive returns on every dollar that you invested. Helps reduce real cost per acre in production. And it's helped increase the demand value of cottonseed. In the last 4 years, we pushed really hard on cottonseed. We didn't feel like, our board didn't feel like we were getting enough out of our cottonseed. So we pushed cottonseed research, and we hope to see some of that fruition coming here in the next couple of years. Let's think about it this way. If we didn't have CI, these are the numbers that we know we have from the analysis. 15% higher demand, another 2.74 million bales we're able to produce. You know, if CI influences demand and demand's up, therefore prices will be up. On average, they return 13% higher. Every dollar that we've invested, they determine a $6.50 return. That's a pretty good investment. Pretty good investment. You know, for the last 5 years, about a 12% net return over the most recent 5 years. $11.2 billion by producers over the long term. Ag research has definitely enhanced our yields. The biggest things have reduced our cost of production. They came up with an average of $7.60. Maybe more here in our area. This is, you got to remember, this is nationwide. And of course, helping the cottonseed increase those prices about $12 a ton. Once again, these reports are on the website. Please go look at them. They look at 5 years and then they look at 15 years worth of data. And those results are consistent over time. Definitely the program's working. It's helping put dollars back in mine and your pockets and the importers' pockets. You know, there are a lot of things that we take for granted. You know, we can't physically see or feel what the Cotton Research and Promotion Program is doing. We're just putting money back in our pockets. We all take a wrinkle-resistant cotton shirt for granted now that we've had them so long, something developed by Cotton Incorporated. How about not spraying for boll weevils? How many in here have never seen a live boll weevil? A lot of folks ain't never seen one. I started growing cotton in 1986. We saw a lot of them. I think this is our 35th year, if I'm right, of boll weevil eradication. It's been a big help for us. How many of you wore a leisure suit? I got a picture in my yearbook in the 6th grade, and man, that's an ugly suit I was wearing. But if we hadn't had the vision, people a lot older than me, like Mr. Louis Perry over there, that come out with a program to help promote cotton, where would we be? Where would this industry be? That's an example of the cotton industry coming together for the good of the industry, and look where we are. Nobody else was doing it at the time in 1966 when they came up with the idea. The industry needed to fight polyester, and I'm here to say it's been a real success. The program has been dedicated to making cotton more profitable for you and me for over 50 years. Now let me back up on boll weevil eradication. When we started eradicating, I think this is pretty close, Georgia's down to 180,000 acres of cotton. And I don't know, 1.2, 1.4, somewhere now, depends. It was definitely a success. And how many of y'all were nervous in the room that participated? You didn't know if it was going to work. My second year producing cotton, and I'm paying $35 an acre for an idea. I was pretty stepping out on a limb. Look what we did. 1994, I think it was 17 new gyms built in the state of Georgia. Look what it did for our state by eradicating that boll weevil. That's vision that the cotton industry always had. We keep us going. We've got to step up and do what's best for our industry. You know, a lot of people that were adamantly against boll weevil eradication. But I'm sure their minds have changed now. But at the time, it was a tough sell. Can't talk briefly about the trust protocol. I'm fortunate, being on the cotton board, I'm around importers all the time. These are some of the smartest, sharpest people I've ever met. They know for a fact that the U.S. grows sustainable cotton. There's not a doubt in their mind. But they listen to what their consumers want, and we should listen to what our consumers want. They tell us, I just have to have a certification. I have to have a piece of paper. Because, like Ken alluded to earlier, that gentleman with peanuts, by 2025, he's going to buy all sustainable. You know, I've heard a lot of them say that we have a cutoff date, we have to. Nobody likes change. None of us. I don't care how young or old you are, we get used to something, we get comfortable. This is a lot easier, the trust protocol, than what's called the BCI. BCI was developed and it's run in Europe. Well, we came up with the concept of the trust protocol. It's going to be run by the National Cotton Council, who we all trust. We need to control our own program. This is another one of those examples of vision. We need to step up and get it done. It's not near as hard as you think it is. The first time, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get set up, but the next year it won't be so bad. It's you have to do it once a year. It's not that big. Step out there and try. The success for this is just as critical as a lot of these other things that we have done to help the cotton industry. I was talking to my mentor about what he's seen and what were the biggest things that developed and changed the cotton industry in his years growing cotton. How many of us remember having all the trailers full and the gin was broke down and you couldn't do nothing? And there was rain coming, you couldn't harvest. I remember the module building. What a breakthrough that was. See, I was very involved in that. That helped us get to the next level. We didn't care whether the gin was running or not, Matt. We didn't care because we could keep harvesting. We could get the crop out of the field. The next thing I talked about earlier that he said was boll weevil eradication. How that helped us, how that boomed the cotton economy in Georgia, across the country. It really made a big impact here in our state. And the last thing he said was a roller picker. Now we can take a lot of acres with a lot less labor to get it done. Let's keep having that vision. Let's look out there. Let's be committed to change and do what we need to do to make sure our cotton is the cotton the world trusts. Like I told you, the importers all know we grow sustainable cotton. But they've also said, if I can't get it here in the United States, I'm going to have to get it somewhere. Just like Kent said, that peanut guy he's got to have it all sustainable. Same boat, same boat. They have to all buy sustainable cotton. Let's be the leaders like we have been in the past. Let's commit to the project and move our industry forward like we have so many times. Last thing I want to touch on is what Ken touched on also. I remember, I think I was about 35 years old, and Mr. Luke Perry asked me to get involved. Now we've got to look down and get other people involved. Some of the best friends I've made in my life are because I got involved with this across the country. That's probably the best part about it. But also, the things I've learned and how I feel like I've been part of growing an industry that's helped all of us here in Georgia. I remember Chad Mathis, I looked and found him, and I could tell he wanted to get involved, and he stepped up. We've got to look around and find this next group of people that want to come and step up. I'm sure they're there, and it's much harder now, and it's hard to leave. You know, I remember leaving my kids at sporting events. That's hard. That's a call you got to make, but we do need some other people to step up. I'm getting to be one of those has-beens. I know there's some young people that want to get involved. Talk to Taylor. Call him. He'd be your first call. And kind of help distinguish where you want to go. One other thing about the protocol, if you're confused about it or don't understand it, I promise you, whoever's merchandised your cotton, he knows about it. He or she, they know about it. You can ask them about it. You can walk right across that hall right over there. And we're set up to help you learn more about it. That concludes my remarks. And I was going to have time for questions, but I guess not. I see that our Congressman has walked in the room for the 2nd District. Come on up here, Congressman. Please, sir. I'm sure all of y'all know Congressman Sanford from the 2nd District. I have supported him a long time, just like he has supported me and all of us in the room as far as ag issues. Anytime there's been an ag issue that we needed help on, we need something done, we need to ask the Congressman. We just told him what we needed done. And I don't know how he got it done, but he always got it worked out for us. We're in a lot better shape because of Congressman Bishop. And I'm glad to turn the microphone over to you, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I am glad to be here. I'm glad to be, period. We've got a lot of stuff that we've been facing, and people are dropping out left and right, and I'm just glad that the Lord has seen fit to have me here. And I want to just thank you for allowing me to have just a few minutes with you. Cotton is really important in Georgia. Agriculture is really important in Georgia. And I learned that about 30 years ago when I started running for Congress. And I realized that I was a novice, and that's an understatement when it came to agriculture. And I asked the folks in Southwest Georgia if they would have patience with me, that I was a lawyer, that I had handled all kinds of cases, but when the issues came up that we didn't know about, we brought in experts, that y'all would be my experts, and y'all would teach me what I needed to know, and I would be a sponge and soak it up and do my double best to then be your advocate. And that's what I've done, and I just want to thank you for continuing to send me back and to continuing to educate me on what your issues are, so that I can be and have been in a position to help you. You know, there's something to be said about seniority in Congress. When I first got to Congress 30 years ago, I had the last seat on the Agriculture Committee, which meant I was the last person to speak or to ask a question. Well, that was a while ago, and because the good people in the 2nd Congressional District have continued to send me back, I'm now the chair of the Agriculture Subcommittee. That's Agriculture, Rural Development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies of the Appropriations Committee. I started out on the authorizing committee, the Ag Committee, but I realized that politics is nothing more, nothing less than who gets what, when, and how. And I figured out that the people who sat at the table that allocated the resources, they were the ones that wrote the checks. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be where I could make things happen, and so I was able to get a seat on the Appropriations Committee. I got a seat on the Agriculture Subcommittee. And you sent me back, and I've now, for the last 3 years, been chairman of the Agriculture Subcommittee, which means that I'm responsible for writing the budget for the Department of Agriculture, the Food and Drug Administration, and the related agencies, including the GCC. So, because you have put your trust in me, because you have given me good account for my stewardship, I am in a very good position to help you and to protect you. Not only do I chair the Agriculture Subcommittee of Appropriations, I'm the vice chair of the Military Construction, Veterans Affairs Subcommittee of Appropriations, and I'm a senior member of the Financial Services Subcommittee of Appropriations. And if you know anything about the Georgia economy, number 1 is agriculture. Number 2 is defense, and we've got lots of veterans all over the state. And number 3 in emerging is financial services. Georgia is now Transaction Alley. But I wanted to come out today to just holler at you and let you know some of the things that are happening relative to cotton. Next week, the House Agriculture Committee, on which I now serve again. So I'm chair of the Ag Subcommittee of Approach, and I'm also on the Ag Authorizing Committee. That's because I wanted to be in a position to influence the Farm Bill. And next week, the Agriculture Committee will be taking up the Farm Bill. We'll be starting our work on the Farm Bill, and one thing I wanted to make sure, and your leaders have come to see us and have made sure that we understand that cotton has to have a seat at the table. There are a number of issues, and the leaders have come and spread them out before us, and we're working. Price rise false coverage is a must have. We got to make sure that we got the safety net. We got to look at the reference prices. We got to look and make sure that everybody understands that input prices make a big difference in your profitability. And so you can have the greatest crop in the world, but if your input is high, your bottom line is not that great. We've got to make sure that we are taking all of that into account. And of course, disaster relief. That's a big, big concern. We've got all kinds of natural disasters that we've experienced over the last 5 years, and we got to make sure that we're prepared, better prepared than we were before. We've been doing stopgap, and historically, Congress has waited and done supplemental appropriations bills to deal with disasters. That has caused delays, a lot of heartburn, and so we've got to find a better way. And in this farm bill, we need to make sure that we are thinking about some stopgap measures that can be in place so that when there is a disaster, particularly if it's not a great disaster, that we already have something in place to be able to deal with that. And so we want to make sure that we can expedite the distribution of the disaster funds, and we want it to be streamlined and modernized. Too much filling out paperwork. We got to streamline that process. I turn into the appropriations, which is what I'm responsible for directly. We passed in the House in July the Ag appropriations bill for FY22. Currently, that bill is in the Senate, and we're waiting to work out an omnibus with our Senate counterparts so that we can get the bill done. Nobody wants to have a continuing resolution because we can't do any new programs, we can't expand. If we do a continuing resolution, we've got to get our regular appropriations bill passed so everybody knows exactly what is going to happen, and you can have some predictability. Our bill this year is $26.55 billion. In that, we got $16.8 billion for the Joint Cotton Test Program, which is an increase of $3.1 million over last year. We listened to you. You said you needed it, and we put it in there, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it in with the senators. The committee is still concerned, as you are, with the white fly epidemic, which is affecting vegetables and cotton. And so we've got money in there set aside to deal with that. $1 million above last year to deal with white fly research. Trade is going to be important for the farm bill. Cotton, 3/4 of what you produce, you want to send outside of the country. You do a great job in terms of your export. We want to make sure that we can make sure that continues to happen, and so we want our farm bill and our foreign agricultural programs and projects are in place so that they work for you. Your leadership talks to us, as do all of the other commodity groups. We want to make sure that when we do this farm bill, that it accommodates what your needs are. Conservation, climate change, all of that is something that's happening. But we want to make sure that it is farmer-centered so that climate change issues are discussed and they're put into programs, that they're put in a way that will benefit you and that you can find a way to profit from it. Now, we also have the supply chain issues. That's a big deal. Getting parts for your tractors, getting parts for your automobiles, that's a big deal. The pandemic impacted that tremendously, but we are doing everything we can to try to get moving back. The
relieve the supply chain congestion. We've been working with the Maritime Association on ports to try to relieve the congestion in ports, and we've been working with the Secretary of Labor to try to streamline the CDL process, because we don't have enough truck drivers, and the process for that is too slow. So we're working on that, and hopefully we'll get that done in the near future. Now, product registration. I always have trouble pronouncing clephyvorous. That's a big deal. And I know it's a big deal, and we've been interacting with the EPA in your behalf for that. But let me just say this. I've been in Congress now almost 30 years, this is my 30th year. Every day that I've been in Congress over the last 30 years, we've had some fights and some issues with the EPA. I don't care who was in the White House. I don't care what the administration was, whether it was Democrat or Republican. Farmers and agriculture have had tension, and we maintain tension with the EPA. Yes, we want to have clean air, we want clean water, but we also want to make sure that our farmers can continue to produce the highest quality, the safest, the most abundant, the most economical food and fiber anywhere in the world. You do what you do, and you do it well. You're the best in the world at it. And my job is to make sure that our policies in Washington facilitate and make easy, make better, more efficient, more productive what you do so that all of us can benefit from it. Thanks for allowing me to come and to have a few minutes with you. We got a lot ahead of us. We got a lot to do, but I'm of the opinion that if we work together, we can get it done. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of dysfunction, a lot of polarization, a lot of division, not just in Washington, but all across the country. But if our communities and if the people in our communities look at one another and try to see what we have in common, our common hopes, our common goals, our common aspirations, the things that all of us want, we can find a way to make it happen. I've tried to be the kind of representative that listens to everybody. After the election's over, I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. What I care about is being able to use the political process to serve the people who elected me, our state, and our nation so that we can have a better quality of life. I view my job over the last 30 years as a ministry of public service. It's the public trust that you have given to me to work for and in your behalf. I've tried to position myself over the years so that I can do just that, and I can deliver for you, whether it's research in agriculture, whether it is disaster relief. We want to get it done, and we want to get it done for you. So thank you for allowing me to be here with you. Thank you for what you do, and please know that we're here in Washington, we're in the district, to make sure that we can respond to your needs and your concerns. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman. It must be very rewarding to know that the work that you do impacts positively thousands of people's lives across South Georgia and across the belt. It really does. It has an impact, and we appreciate your support of it. More than you probably ever. Before we introduce the next speaker, I want to say one thing on a personal note, as I was sitting there thinking. Kent and Jimmy, I'm gonna put Bart Davis in this conversation too. I hope you guys will take a minute and thank these guys for what they do. They spend a tremendous amount of time on these important issues that we have. And oftentimes, all they get is a word of thanks from us. So I would encourage you to stop by and just give them a handshake and say thank you for the work you do. They're gone a lot. They're traveling, and then, you know, there's no compensation for this other than the knowledge they're doing things for the industry. And their passion and their love for the industry is what they do. And I want to say thank you for what you do. As an introduction to the next speaker, I want to tell you a really quick story. I promise it won't take long. I started doing cotton a long time ago, and I had these blinders on. I would say, well, what I got to do, I got to get my cotton picked before it gets wet. I got to pick it dry. I got to put it in a place where it won't get wet. I got to get it to the gym. And I had these blinders on. That's all I worried about. And then as time went on, we started hearing things from the mills about we need a stronger fiber, we need a longer fiber, we need a more uniform fiber. And so I began to think, well, maybe my customer is not the gym, maybe my customer is the mill. Well, and then time goes on, and it's taken me a lifetime to realize some of this, but then all of a sudden, we start hearing from the retailers about things like sustainability and those kinds of issues. And I said, well, maybe my customer's the retailer. And then I've learned something in a little bit of time on Cotton Incorporated, that's not our customer either. Our customer is, I think, the 19 to 45-year-old female that makes so many purchasing decisions. Our customer is the consumer. And oftentimes I have these blinders on, I lose sight of that. And I think our next speaker will open our eyes, and I think there's some things that work directly with the consumer. And I want you to notice too, just one example of the type of high-quality, passionate people that we have working for us at Cotton. They work for us, and they do a tremendous job. We take them for granted sometimes too, I think, but these people are really gifted, really passionate about what they do. So I'm honored to introduce Kim today. Kim Kitchings is the Senior Vice President of Consumer Marketing at Cotton Incorporated. She leads corporate communications, advertising, corporate strategy, global market insights, and brand partnerships. In this role, Kim's primary goals are to motivate consumers and the trade to buy items made of cotton and to affirm cotton as a fiber of choice for sustainable and eco-friendly products. Kim received a Bachelor of Arts in Business from North Carolina State University and a Master's in Business Administration from Meredith College. She is a frequent presenter at industry conferences, conferences on innovation, consumer insights, and marketing metrics. Her passion, beyond advocating on behalf of the cotton industry, is spending time with her husband and 3 children and canvassing the retail market for cotton items of professional bonus. So Kim, we appreciate you being here and look forward to your comments.
Good morning. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here, to see you in person, and to be able to share with you what we do on your behalf at Cotton Incorporated. I've been there a long time, 25 plus years, and I've seen a lot of changes. And I want to tell you that when we introduce new people and we hire them into the company, I always remind them of who we're working for and who you are, that you're generations of farmers that love your land, and it's not just a widget. It's a real product, a program that we have the opportunity to represent. And so I'm just delighted to be here. Thank you, Taylor, the Georgia Cotton Commission, for inviting me today to share with you what we do. Okay, great. So when Taylor asked me to speak to you today, I thought, well, what can I tell you that we haven't talked with you about before? And I said, well, everything that's hitting us today is the pandemic, and how that's impacted consumers and certainly our product and what's occurring in the market. So I want to talk to you today about how important it is with our consumers and what's happened to them during the pandemic. But before I begin, I just want to remind you that what I do is once the product hits the shelf, we look at creating demand for everything else you've heard today and how important that is to get the product there. It's absolutely amazing in what it takes. Once the product hits the shelf, it's our job to motivate consumers and the supply chain to look for, that's very important, we've got to have them checking the label looking for and buying cotton items. We want to make certain that it is the first choice, and I would like to say the only choice for an eco-friendly, sustainable fiber and product in the marketplace. And we do this based on market insights and intuition, and that's how I came up through the company. It's been about 20 years there through analytics. So it's fitting that I would want to take a look at the data. We started in March of 2020, when the pandemic occurred, looking at research. We started in Italy, Asia, China specifically, US, and then Mexico. And we were asking consumers a variety of questions, and this is one I want to highlight right now. And we talked about their level of concern for the pandemic. And what you'll see is that it ebbed and Webb by different age groups. But in December, 1 month ago of 2021, you can see that consumers 25 to 44, 89% said that they were exceptionally concerned about the pandemic and what that meant. For a variety of reasons for that. We know about we've heard about the supply chain issues that happened, the lockdowns, they couldn't get products at home, vaccines being available or not for the children, and now inflation. So there's a lot that's going on in this marketplace and it impacts what we do and how we position our programs at Con Incorporated. So we're going to talk about 3 key areas of what we've learned over these 9 waves of research. And we continued that research in the US, China, and Mexico. After things changed in Italy, we moved away. We have had significant requests globally for this work from brands like Ralph Lauren, Levi's, and others to come again and again and share with them because they weren't doing this type of monitoring on what consumers were looking for. And today we found 3 issues we want to talk to you about. A shift in their behavior on how they shop for items, looking at health and wellness, and how important that is in a variety of ways in their life, and then sustainability and the changes in that area. So 73%, this is on the U.S. right now I'm talking about, of consumers say that COVID has changed the way they shop. And I'm sure if you think about it too, you know, not just apparel, think about groceries and curbside delivery and other things that you didn't really experience before the pandemic occurred, but now it's available to you. Some of it's convenience, and you like that opportunity too. So what does that mean for us though, specifically in apparel, and how has that changed how consumers are looking at shopping for our products? Well, we know that they're shopping online more. Again, that's been an issue, and it's been rising, and we were expecting acceleration in consumers that would shop online over time, but no doubt this changed it with the pandemic. So consumers have gotten used to that opportunity and what that looks like. Then you have consumers also looking at taking better advantage of sales. Now, this is going to become critical with inflation. Right now, apparel inflation has not hit our market yet. There's a lag in that when you look at that. It's about 6 months. We have all seen it in food, gasoline, other prices. But my question for you and for the consumer is what happens when it hits apparel? What are they going to choose? The pack of ribs, the new jeans, the shirts, the IT. There are a lot of choices consumers have. Also buying higher quality clothing. While at home during the pandemic, many realized they didn't need as many clothing. So what do you do with that? How does that affect cotton consumption in the end? And then doing more research before you buy. Now it's very commonplace to walk in, have your mobile phones, and check a price. Apparel, not as much, but food and other items that you're doing, they're doing that now at different rates. So for us, it means that when we look at our opportunities, we want to be anywhere and everywhere they are. This chart shows you what I like to call inspiration to information. It's all the social media handles that we're involved in and that consumers are using today. I'm going to give you a couple of numbers. In an internet minute, there are 500 hours of YouTube content uploaded in 1 minute. If you look at Instagram stories, I don't know how many of you are on there, but I promise you your children are, there are 695,000 Instagram stories that occur in 1 minute. And in 1 minute, there are $1.6 million spent online. Now, that's not just apparel, that's other goods. A lot is going on. We have to be where they are. And our content has to be curated to what they're looking for and the messages we want to give them. Sometimes it's benefit messaging, how to get stain out, how to find a product to purchase, what type of cotton. Sometimes it's sustainability messaging as well. Not only are we doing this for the consumer, but we're also talking to the trade. And I'm going to press on this in just a moment, and you're going to see a laser image that we did in our product labs that we sent out to the trade for Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, to show them and remind them the things and the technology we can do in denim and in cotton specifically. Some of the work, and if you visit our laboratories, if you haven't been there, we would love to see some of the machinery and different innovations you can see with us. TikTok has taken off over the pandemic with everyone at home and what's occurring, and we wanted to take advantage of that. The market we look at, primarily women, 70%, 18 to 34, 30% men, and then we go 18 to 49 years of age. This social media handle has grown significantly. So we tested it last year, and we worked with a young woman called Madeline Bailey, and what she does is she takes different information, she makes songs out of it. So we asked her listeners or viewers to go and submit their favorite cotton items and what they meant to them. So over 7,000 of her viewers sent in information. Everything from the favorite boyfriend sweatshirt to the pastel durability of a t-shirt to other things that love their favorite blanket. And then she wrote 3 songs about it. And in that she also talked about the fabric of our lives. And we wanted to take this tagline to a new generation. And in their way, in their social media, we had more than 14.9 million views of the work she did. And not only that, but during this time she happened to be on America's Got Talent, which is a wonderful pickup for us too. And when we do these types of what we call test and learns, we want to understand, well, what does it do for cotton? It was nice that they saw it, they viewed it, and they liked it, but they didn't make them want to buy more, purchase more. And we saw a lift in intent of 4.3%. That's significant when we look at this marketplace. It's a new generation. How do we reach the younger audience? Not only were we looking at TikTok activations, but we started looking at gaming. I don't know how many of you may have gamers at home. I have a couple. And when they sit there, what are they wearing? They're wearing cotton. So again, how do we make our message relevant to a new group of consumers and to understand things they're not thinking about that's ubiquitous to them while they're sitting there? So we wanted to talk to gamers and test this out. Also give us an opportunity to talk to more men than women, younger and older. This isn't just a younger group, about what the opportunities were for cotton and in their language. So take a look.
For gaming in compete mode, cotton is your cheat code. Win comfortably. The fabric of our gaming lives.
And so all of these people, of course, were wearing cotton. And when they brought it to me, I had to ask, what's the cheat code? I said, that doesn't sound like cotton. That doesn't sound like the positive vibe we want to give out. The cheat code was how you get around certain games and how you win. So it was a good opportunity there. To give you an idea, the size of the gaming market is $50 billion. Pre-pandemic movies, theaters, when you went there was $11 billion. It's a significant market opportunity for us to look at and advertise it, and it's a new way of communicating our message. So now I'm going to talk to you about brand partnerships. When you talk about the consumer journey in marketing, you talk about awareness, engagement, and action. You have to be aware of cotton, then you have to want to learn about it, know about it, and then action means buying cotton or searching for the label. So this next area really gets us into that area of action and buying. And these are brand partnerships where we generally work with just maybe 3 to 4 brands in a given year. But because of COVID and because of things being postponed, we had 6 partners this year, and they're listed on the screen for you. And I'm going to highlight a couple of them. Many of you in the room, I can imagine, would know Vera Bradley. Vera Bradley's in the home area, purses, other things, and they came to us, and they were doing a new recycled cotton program. Recycled cotton is good, of course, it's sustainable, but the majority of their product and area is conventional cotton. So as we worked with them to promote their products, and we wanted to do that, we also had the opportunity to educate them on the importance of conventional cotton and what that means, and the durability and strength of what recycled cotton offers and what it doesn't offer. There are some limitations there that we know from our research and scientists at Cotton Incorporated. So during that, we were able to tailor their messaging that this is another alternative, but conventional cotton is absolutely just as good, maybe sometimes better than recycled cotton. So it's a great opportunity that some of the work we do isn't just consumer facing, it's also with the trade. So the first area I'd like to talk to you about, brand partnership we started early last year, was with a group called Good American. This is a casual wear group, women's wear primarily. One of the greatest things about them was inclusive sizing. We have a size 24. Many of the brands we retailers work with don't do that. No, they don't offer the diversity that we want to see in sizing and product categories and influencers. And cotton is for everybody. We have to show that in the work that we do. This group also happens to have investment by the Kardashians. That wasn't the reason we worked with them. That happened. However, it doesn't hurt you in social media when one of them posts about you either. So that's good. That was an unexpected, and if it was not written in the contract because we couldn't afford it. quite candidly. In this program, we had over 500,000 or 520 SKUs across 12 different product categories. Still a cotton messaging throughout, and you'll see this on some of the websites if you would go and look at their pages. Everything we do is highly branded. We want to make certain consumers associate the products with cotton and the seal. And you can also see that in their language they use the messaging. We will give them key speaking points, but they have to talk to their consumer in a way that their consumer can hear it. So I'm going to show you a video of the work that we did with them, and then we'll follow up.
I'm sure most of you have heard of Good American before. They just launched all cotton-rich apparel.
Cotton Like American, which is their cotton collection.
And the pieces are so cute and comfy.
Cotton is so soft.
I'm obsessed with it. I love the cotton.
One of my favorite things for spring.
100% cotton, so it's so soft.
If you care about what you put in your body, you should also care about what you put on your body.
Terms like good, natural, durable, those are the terms that resonate with consumers. Those are the terms when we work with a brand that we help them choose to make certain we're communicating to them the benefits of cotton that will matter most. The price range of these products were from $35 to $195. So affordable for some, it gets a little higher price. Again, we want to make certain cotton is available and for all. Not only did we work with that group, Good American, but we had, as I mentioned, 5 other partners. We also looked at small businesses to help them, 5 different retailers and brands. And then for the first time in many, many years, we had a holiday program with a group called Intermix. This is a contemporary retailer, primarily women's wear. I had the opportunity in December to go in one of their stores in New York. Absolutely beautiful clothing. But it's also very high-end. The price range starts at $90 and goes up to about $1,200. And you may say, well, why would you work with someone like that? Because it is aspirational. When you see the clothing, you're going to see the difference in that. And we want to make certain, not just consumers, but the trade, remember, that cotton is available at all price points. And when you start to think about durability and inflation and what that means in the marketplace, we want cotton positioned as a premier fiber as well, so it can withstand some of the price increases that may be coming. So this is a holiday resort collection that was done with Intermix. I do not have any results right now because whenever the holiday goes through January, actually. So let me just show you a brief snippet of that. Very different vibe than the first one I showed you, and if I showed you the rest of them, Vera Bradley, of course, something navy, all of those are very different, representing a very specific marketplace for us. But while we look at the opportunity to curate online, that's what we've had to do really the past 2 years. Consumers are telling us they're ready to get back in stores though. So online's not going to be the be-all end-all. It will have increased and some consumers will continue to shop that way. But 60% of U.S. consumers saying, I'm ready to get back to physical stores. I want to see and touch it. I want to have the experience. Now they may go in though and find the product and order it and have it shipped home. But there's opportunities in different ways, so we will look for opportunities as stores open up to be back in person. With them, Intermix was in person as well as it was online. The other point I'll mention too is that Amazon is opening its first apparel retail store interestingly enough, 30,000 square feet in California in the next month. So when you start to see digital coming in store and in store going digital, it's the mix of the two. And how do we make that seamless for the consumer so that she or he can get what they're looking for? Second area, health and wellness. Over the time, we can certainly understand the wellness concerns during COVID and the pandemic and what that meant for them. And the health concerns, many consumers were at home. They had more time to exercise. They had more time to wear different type of apparel items to look at what was important to them. So when we started to talk to consumers about that, they started to tell us things like, well, I want it to last longer, the durability aspect. I want to make certain, too, that maybe it's odor resistant or antimicrobial, hypoallergenic, looking at other terms, too, that we take for granted. Cotton is comfort, we know that, but comfort became even more important to the consumer when he and she were at home. So it opened up an opportunity for us to really talk about what we do. Also, the breathability and sweat hiding features that cotton can utilize in the marketplace. However, that does not come natural to cotton as a fiber for those of you that are familiar with its properties. We're very fortunate at Cotton Incorporated that we have a suite of technologies, performance technologies. We put, it could be on fiber form or yarn form or even fabric form on cotton products to make it competitive with other fibers in the marketplace. Some of those, such as wicking windows, take moisture away from the body, can help reduce odor. Trans dries helps with fabric clean, drying faster. Storm cotton's durability, and some of you may have seen that in Target on their children's wear line. Storm cotton is on in Banana Republic right now on some different jackets, and the natural stretch is just that, it gives more movement in the product. So we look at the opportunities to promote those as well. And last year, in our account management division, there were over 600 meetings, most of those virtual, around the world. So think China, Hong Kong, Australia, Europe, the US, and Mexico, to talk about these different technologies, and 49 adoptions. So it takes a lot of effort to get these adopted in the marketplace, but here are some of the options you see. Now, if you go and you look specifically, say at Ralph Lauren and the Pure Press technology they're using, you're not going to see it named Pure Press, because it's not our concern. They call it what we call it at our company. We want them to use it to differentiate their product in the marketplace. We want everyone to use it. That's what they want to do, and it helps cotton in the market. So in benefit messaging, on the side of what I do for the company, we looked at this opportunity, and when we talk to consumers about simple things, such as your underwear. You know, there's some underwear brands out there now that are marketing underwear that's not cotton. We know that's not what we want to see at all. So we've got to take this opportunity to remind consumers that cotton is natural, it's durable, it's breathable. We did that in Variety magazine and online. We had some fun, and we talked about cosmetics and cotton rounds versus other things that you might use to take your cosmetics off with, and how important that is. The sustainable nature of that was also mentioned. We talked about hypoallergenic, and then we used the Weather Channel. We've done scientific research at Cotton Incorporated that says you get a better night's sleep in cotton. You don't sweat as much, it's cooler. And to do that, when the temperature got to a certain level, we were able to geo-target and serve messaging that way. And we know that 51% of consumers that got that messaging clicked through and went to the Shop Cotton website. Wonderful opportunities there. The other thing I want to also let you know, in case you don't, is that any marketing materials or claims that come out of any division at Cotton Incorporated has to be vetted by a third party and scientifically approved, because we're governed by the USDA. So we are an extension of government speech. So you will never see marketing claims that are just hype from our company, I can assure you. And we always have something to back that up with. The last area I'd like to talk to you today is about sustainability. We've heard about this from a couple of different areas today, the supply chain, and I'm going to show you why it's important and what we're seeing in the marketplace with consumers too. This is a chart that shows the percent of U.S. consumers who say sustainability influences their purchases of different product categories. We first asked this in 2017, so pre-pandemic, and then just in 2021. And you can see it's always been high for food. Consumers have cared about where the food comes from, what matters. Personal care products, clothing, and textiles have increased more than 10 percentage points in interest by consumers in 4 years. Again, I mentioned to you, I came up to analytics. A 10 percentage point move in consumer attitudes is significant, not just statistically, but in the behavior. And before behavior changes, of course, awareness comes. So we're starting to see this indication. Now, if you said, Kim, today you walk in, are they going to buy a jacket that they don't like the color of? If this jacket had been Carolina blue, I would not have purchased it. Because if it is NC State red, I purchased it. No, seriously, so they're gonna care about their color, they're gonna care about a lot of things, but sustainability is increasing in that area. Some of the work we do in this area, we talk about, you care about what you put in your body. What about what you put on your body? Again, going to food, making it relevant to them about sustainability into the marketplace for their apparel, and how do we start to move that? So we see these movements. We also have seen, unfortunately, this has been true since our study began in this area in 2017, that natural fibers are perceived safer for the environment than man-made or synthetic fibers. So here you see cotton and wool significantly higher than rayon, nylon, or polyester. However, if I were to put recycled in front of polyester, that number jumps by about 10 percentage points, just because of the term. So you have to look at that. We have to make certain the standards are appropriate, the guidelines are updated for different things that are occurring in the marketplace that we have to adhere to, but many of these other brands, when they make claims, do not in the marketplace and other fibers. So that's something that we deal with day to day with this information in my corporate communications group. The other area we see movement in is microplastics. This just started to be an issue about 4 to 5 years ago, and at that time, only 17% of consumers were aware of this. Today, that's increased by more than 25 percentage points to 39%. That's significant. That's a wonderful opportunity for cotton. Not so great for the aquatic environment, what's happening there, because the microfibers do not biodegrade. So when the fish consume them and eat them, there are issues there that are happening. So we're seeing changes in that marketplace. We've done significant research at Cotton Incorporated on this, and we've been able to market it to consumers. Right now, we have studies being commissioned with a couple of different universities on what we call plastic leakage, not just into ocean waste, but also into landfills, and what that means, what the opportunities are for cotton. So how do we take this information out on your behalf? Well, similar to what you're doing, I was really happy to hear about some of the school curriculum you're doing. We have a curriculum also that talks about everything from agricultural work to checking the label to recycling to microplastics. This started right before the pandemic. It was perfect timing. To date, we've had more than 197,000 downloads of this work that's freely available to anyone that would like to use it. And just late last quarter, we filmed a virtual farm tour that we're going to add to this curriculum and continue to reach out across the U.S. with this work. Sustainability, the curriculum allows us to be engaged and even action with the kids, because there are white papers in that and other things in the curriculum we do, but awareness is still important too. And some of the TV work and video content we do also doesn't just run on TV now, it runs on digital and other places. We've got a commercial with a young girl and her father, and the t-shirts passed from her dad to her, and so they're talking about the durability of it, and it's a playful way to reach consumers. And in there, the piano player that goes through this is Carney Wilson of Phillips. I don't know if any of you remember her. But in this, we've taken this campaign and extended it into digital banner ads, where we've got her, and she pops up and says this.
Your mother wants you to wear cotton. That's Mother Earth, obviously.
It should have said, your mother wants you to wear cotton. That's Mother Earth, obviously. Again, a very subtle way, but to start talking about cotton in an environmental way that the consumers will hear from. It's in a fun way with the animation and the earth. And so this is an event I want to show you. We're only able to have 2 events in person this year, or last year, 2021, because of the pandemic. This was during New York Fashion Week. It was with a group called Revolve, one of our brand partners, a contemporary retailer, men's, women's, and children's wear. And we were able to have this, and they had about 20 brands in an area they had rented in New York called Hudson Yards. Went down and they invited 300 fashion influencers. And this was back in September, and so it was interesting because outside they all had their masks in. You walked in, I don't know what happened to the masks. They went away. I wish they were all cotton, we could recycle them. But they went in and came in, and there were different brands set up for experiences. So in our hall, the Cotton Hall, what we had, we of course had the clothing. That's why they were there, the fashion influencers. But we thought, let's try the sustainability message. Let's tell them what we're doing to be more sustainable as this happens. So this is just an example of it. Up here it says U.S. cotton farmers now grow almost double the amount of cotton than they did on the same amount of land. This one that we've blown up for you says, unlike man-made, chemically produced fibers, cotton is natural, grown from the earth. Cotton farming has made significant strides toward a sustainable future in the past few decades and is only improving. And then other information. A lot of pictures here, a lot of Instagram. They were more interested, quite candidly, at this point in time in the visual, the lovely cotton and touching that, but it's a step. We're getting it in front of them, starting with the awareness, and it all starts that way. And then it will start to matter more as different things change, as brands and retailers put more product on the shelf that have those labels. We're going to make certain we're in front of them. The last area I'm going to talk to you about today is a key program we have on sustainability. We've had this for 15 years, is Blue Jeans Go Green. And this is where we collect denim from a broad range of retailers and brands, and we turn it into insulation materials. We recycle it, and in the past, we've historically given it back to homes that need Habitat for Humanity, issues with Katrina 10 years ago, or when they have a 10-year anniversary. Now we're diversifying into pet beds, futons, and even looking at food packaging over the pandemic. A lot of people are ordering their food and to keep it insulated. The denim insulation works wonderfully in that area. Today, we've collected more than 4 million denim items. We've worked with, you'll see and recognize several of these brands. These are just last year. Today, we've worked with more than 220 brands, 35 of these you'll see. Zappos, some of you may know, started as a shoe retailer online. They are now into apparel. And all of these brands is important. They come to us. We do not call on them. They come to us and want to be a part of this program. Zappos came to us and wanted, how can we partner with you? And we thought, well, let's try, let's see. He said, well, maybe you can pay for the shipping for consumers that are at home and can't get to a store to return this to ship it back. They've done it. They paid for it continuously. It was a wonderful windfall for us and the consumers, and to get cotton education during the pandemic. It's an integral program to what we do. We have people across, or brands across all price points, all ages. This is an Instagram that we did with PacSun. Some of you may be familiar with that retailer. And what they did, and talk about how to recycle their programs, and talk about Pack Denim, again, making it unique to their brand and what they do. And they released this for us on World Cotton Day, which is October 7th, and to talk about the benefits of cotton. Now, I'm going to be very candid with you. This program allows consumers not only to do good with recycling, but they also usually get $10 or $20 off their next high cotton content denim purchase. So we do give a carrot there for them to come in, but starting to educate them and start to work with them. Again, see all the placement of the seal and making certain consumers are aware that it's cotton. This is education initiatives. We have not been able to be on campus the past 2 years on college campuses. What I'm referring to is we had to look at different things to do. Digitally, we were able to work with a group called Per Campus that focuses on young women in college and talk to them about the opportunity to recycle denim. We have about 19,000 downloads, and they use Zappos for all of that. Then we did a program with a group called The Geek. It's a junior, it's 8 years old, up to 14, and they could do art work for us on Blue Jeans Go Green with art, whereas other youth curriculums really extend science-focused opportunity there. And then we were invited to the Texas FFA in June of this year. 11,000 students were there in person that we were able to talk to about benefits of cotton. You may think that you're talking to the choir there, you're preaching to the choir, but you're not. These students and kids need to know the benefits and be able to go out and articulate what that is when they're in the marketplace and why cotton matters. And they collect more than 5,000 denim items to be recycled that event. So I mentioned to you that we're diversifying and the Blue Jeans Go Green and using the insulation in food packaging. So this is an example of one of our newest partners called Vital Choice. And they're out of Boston and they ship seafood. And it's a perfect opportunity to talk about microplastics. So it's not just recycling, it's not just getting insulation there, but to tell these consumers, and these tend to be high-end consumers that are buying these, and open to this messaging about ocean pollution and cotton biodegrading. So any opportunity we have, we're looking for that opportunity to get the message in about cotton. And then I just wanted to end on 2 more slides, the Seal of Cotton trademark and how important that is and that investment over 50 years ago. Today, 82% of consumers in the U.S. associate the Seal of Cotton with sustainable apparel, period. We see 85% want to see more seals because it's easy. They don't have to look for the tag and see where it could be, and especially online when they're shopping. It's a great opportunity. And 80% say the Seal of Cotton boosts a brand's sustainability impression with the consumer. So when they partner with us and they use that, that's the only seal they need to go. We will continue to use this messaging and to get that out there on all aspects of cotton, not just sustainability, but fashion and benefits as well. But when you look at this information, if you're still asking, well, why does it matter? What happens? I pulled this for you. It was from earlier last year, and this is Patagonia. I think everyone in the room knows Patagonia. And it talks about, this is a sportswear retailer, talks about their plan to sign a multi-year deal to create a new fiber. To create a new fiber from textile waste. That it happens to be cellulose, which of course cotton is. But not only do they talk about that, in this press release, they go on to say that it's a new fiber with the look and feel of cotton. First of all, the look and feel of cotton, I think that's someone's tagline. I think that's ours. But secondly, I tell people, I say, yes, of course, that makes my blood boil because we are cotton, they should be utilizing us. But it's when we're not mentioned, when we're not the benchmark that will concern me even more, because that's with all the work and what we've been doing for over 50 years to ensure that. And it's why cotton is truly the fabric of all our lives. And what the other fibers continue to aspire to be. We'll continue to do standards and to lead and to try to set the messaging in different ways to impact and involve with changing times. And some of that today, while fashion will always be part of what we do, but sustainability will be too. So we want to encourage you to help us to be a part of that, getting that product on the shelf with the protocol and everything helps us do what we can do on this end of the program as well. So thank you for your time today. I have some cards out if you didn't get them when you registered with all our social media and websites at Cotton Incorporated, technical and consumer oriented. We would love for you to follow us on them and give us any feedback that you have. But again, we're very appreciative for all your efforts, for what you do day in and day out, for letting us to do what we do. Thank you.